Sometime in 1974, horror writer Stephen King and his wife Tabitha spent one night at the Stanley Hotel. During their brief residency in Boulder, Colorado, at the time, King was struggling with Darkshine as the working title of his latest project. King had just set the events of the book in an amusement park, but he felt it was more isolated setting was necessary.
I need to charge my phone.
You're gonna live. This one's almost over then.
I didn't say I wouldn't live. According to George Beam's Stephen King companion, on the advisement of locals who suggested a resort hotel located in Estes Park, an hour's drive away to the north, Stephen and Tabitha King found themselves checking into the Stanley Hotel just as its other guests were checking out because the hotel was shutting down for the winter season. Here it comes!
After checking in and after Tabitha went to bed, King roamed the halls and went down to the hotel bar, where drinks were served by a bartender named Grady. As he returned to his room, number 217, his imagination was fired up by the hotel's remote location, its grand size, and its eerie desolation.
Desolation. And when King went into the bathroom and pulled back the pink curtain for the tub, which had claw feet, he thought, what if somebody died here? At that moment, I knew I had a book.
That's what I think every time I go to a claw tub.
Every time I get into a tub, I stare at the drain like, it's going to come at me.
It literally is.
Yeah, it
And
is.
when I flush a toilet, I'm expecting it to come up. Thank you, Stevie.
Yeah, thanks.
And-
Terrified us of plumbing.
In a 1977 interview by the Literary Guild, King recounts, while we were living in Boulder, we heard about this terrific old mountain resort hotel and decided to give it a try. But when we arrived, they were just getting ready to close for the season, but we found ourselves the only guests in the place. With all these long, empty quarters, King and his wife were served dinner in an empty dining room, accompanied by canned orchestral music. Except for our table, all the chairs were up in the night. Were up on the tables. Wow, I skipped a space. Sorry. So the music is echoing down the hall, and I mean, it was like God had put me there to hear that and see those things. And by the time I went to bed that night, I had the whole book, The Shining, in my mind. In another retelling, King says, I dreamed of my 3-year-old son running around the corridors, looking back over his shoulder, eyes wide, screaming he was being chased by a fire hose. I woke up with a tremendous jerk, sweating all over. Within an inch of falling out of bed, I got up, lit a cigarette, sat in a chair, looking out the window at the Rockies, and by the time the cigarette was gone, I had the bones of the Shining firmly set in my mind.
Wow.
That's how his fast his brain works, apparently.
I love to hear about his process, you know?
Light a cigarette.
The Shining was published in 1977 and became the third great success of King's career after Carrie and Salem's Lot. The primary setting is an isolated Colorado resort called the Overlook Hotel, which closes for the winter. In the front matter of the book, King tactfully states some of the most beautiful resort hotels in the world are located in Colorado, but the hotel in these pages is based on none of them. The Overlook and the people associated with it exist wholly in the author's imagination. Lies! Why would he lie like that? Why would he lie like that? Everybody knows. Everybody knows where he got the idea from. Everybody.
King locates the Overlook Hotel in the fictional town of Sidewinder, which is supposed to be near Estes Park. Stanley Hotel is never mentioned, notwithstanding King's efforts to explicitly
Differentiate.
differentiate the Overlook Hotel from the Stanley. It seems that King imagined the Stanley Hotel as the setting of The Shining. It was where he got that.
He may have lied in the book, but he stated in interviews that he got the idea while staying at the Stanley Hotel. Where am I? Room 217? Room 217 of the Overlook features prominently in the novel, having been the room where King spent the night at the Stanley. This is the room on the second floor in the center of the west wing with a balcony overlooking the south terrace. Room 217 remains the Stanley's most requested accommodation. Gee, I wonder why that would be. Ow.
Despite its connection with King's novels, Stanley Hotel was little to do with Stanley Kubrick's iconic 1980 film adaptation. Kubrick's vision for the movie differed significantly from King's in many ways, including the portrayal of the Overlook.
The exteriors of Kubrick's Overlook were supplied by the Timberline Lodge, built 1936 to 1938 near Mount Hood in Oregon. That's where we're from. Well, where we live. And inspiration for the interior sets erected at the Elstree Studios in the UK came primarily from the Awanee Hotel, built in 1927 in Yosemite National Park.
Apparently our cats have gone mad.
It's just little shits, aren't they?
The management of the Timberline Lodge, fearful that guests would refuse to stay in the room 217, it was featured in a horror movie, and insisted that Kubrick changed the haunted room in the film to the fictional room 237. I want to go to the Timberline Hotel.
King was apparently displeased with Kubrick's film, based mainly on Jack Nicholson's portrayal of Jack Torrance, which I thought Jack Nicholson did a really good job. I think he would be more, I would have thought he'd be more upset by Shelley Long's portrayal of the mom.
In 1996, Warner Brothers secured the television rights to The Shining and produced a miniseries stylized as the Stephen King's The Shining with a script by Stephen King.
Don't you knock that over.
Apparently our other cat is deciding to be a mountain lion.
Thanks to King, the Stanley Hotel was chosen as the primary shooting location, a playhouse version of the main building which adorned the lawn of the Overlook Hotel in the series can be viewed in the basement of the Stanley. How awesome is that?
In 2015, the open area in front of the hotel, originally a driveway for the Stanley steamers and
Promenade.
for guests and enjoy mountain views, was replaced with a hedge maze.
Ooh, a hedge maze.
Which is sad because it's not even in this book.
No, it's not. This non-historic feature was added to evoke the hotel's connection to The Shining. Although a hedge maze features prominently in Stanley Kubrick's film, no such feature appears in King's novel. At freaking all.
The lawn of the Overlook Hotel, as King imagined it, was adorned with tapari animals.
Topari.
And was set that way for the shooting of Stephen King's The Shining. Historically, neither existed at the Stanley. Yeah, the little hedge animals actually.
The baby kitty is around here somewhere because she was just sniffing at my leg. The design was a result of a competition chosen from amongst 300 entrants from across the globe. The following year, another competition was held to design a focal point for the hedge maze. Sculptors Sutton Betty and Daniel Glanz won the competition with a sculpture of F.O. Stanley holding one of his violins. The sculpture was installed and dedicated on September 29th, 2016. Wow! Freaking cat is driving me nuts.
In addition to serving as the Overlook Hotel in Stephen King's 1997 TV miniseries version of The Shining, the Stanley also served as the fictional Hotel Danbury of Aspen, Colorado in the 1984 film of Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. See, you learn something new every day. Even me.
I try to teach you guys something new.
Yeah, and then there's me who reads like everything, and especially when it comes to movies. And I still didn't know that. So, kudos to you for teaching me something new. From 2013 to 2015, the whole hotel property hosted the Stanley Film Festival, an independent horror film festival operated by the Denver Film Society, held in early May. The festival featured screenings, panels, student competitions, audience awards, and receptions. Jeez.
Stanley Film Festival was put on hiatus in 2016 and canceled in 2007.
Okay.
I wanted to go.
Bravo's cooking competition, Top Chef, also used the Stanley as a venue for episode 10 of 15, all of which took place in various locations around Colorado.
Stanley Hotel was hosted as the following persons of note. 1934, Erich Fromm, the German psychiatrist. What is wrong with you?
I had beans.
There's been a lot. Stephen King, Franklin Roosevelt, Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels. I'm just giving you guys a few because it's a long list. Steven Weber.
People you might know.
Yeah. Crown Prince of Naruhodo.
Crown Prince of what the fucko?
They say a list of owners. But I could have sworn that, you don't have to read the owners, but I could have sworn that Ghost Hunters owned it, but it doesn't have them on the list. You start with it highlighted because I skipped some.
Okay.
It's not really.
Despite a peaceful early history, in the years following the publication of The Shining, the Stanley Hotel gained a reputation as a setting for paranormal activity. It has hosted numerous paranormal investigators and appeared in shows such as Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures. I don't like those kind of shows. It's not the show itself, it's how it's made. You know, that handheld camera
I
shit
used to
just
like
doesn't...
Ghost Hunters.
It makes me dizzy, you know? Like the stationary camera where it doesn't wobble a lot.
Room 428, staying in. This is for room 4. This is now we're gonna go into like what people have witnessed. So in room 428, staying in any room on the 4th floor is said to be scary. But more on room 428, guests have reported hearing footsteps above them and furniture moving about. But that's actually physically impossible given the slope of the roof. Tour guides say the real haunt in this room though is a friendly cowboy who appears at the corner of the bed.
Okay. Oh yeah, I read that one and that one, so you could read that one. Now I can go back to mine.
Yeah.
Underground caves. If you go on the 75-minute night spirit tour at the Stanley, you don't have to be a hotel guest to get in on it, but you should book in advance. Your tour will come to an eerie halt at the end with a visit to the underground cave system. Workers moved about the hotel through the caves in the early days, so it makes sense that this is a popular haunt. Get it? Skeptics will pass off the haunts as breezes from the historic piping and ventilation systems, but beneath the hotel is a higher than average concentration of limestone and quartz, which some ghost hunters believe help capture energy at the property. Oh.
The grand staircase. With the antique mirror and portraits, there are a lot to creep you out on the grand staircase. In 2016, a visitor from Houston snapped some photos on the grand staircase, and upon returning home and receiving them, spotted something at the top of the staircase. The thing is, he doesn't remember anybody else being on the staircase at the time he was taking photographs. A ghostly image of a woman is at the top of the stairs.
Room 401. More than a century ago, the entire 4th floor was a cavernous attic. It's where female employees, children, and nannies stayed. Now today's guests will report hearing children running around, laughing, giggling, and playing. Plus, there's a famous closet that tends to open and shut on its own in this room. Ooh.
Let's see. The concert hall, Paul of the well-known ghost haunting. Stanley was a jack of all trades around the hotel. Among his duties, enforcing and 11 p.m. curfew at the hotel, which could be why guests and workers hear "get out" being uttered late at night. The area is also a favorite spot for the
Aren't we on a burn ban?
for the hotel founder, Florida Stanley, goes to play the piano. A few of Paul's antics were told by construction a worker he felt Paul nudged him while he was standing the floors, and tour groups on the Stanley Ghost Tour have reported he flickered a flashlight for them. Another ghost known to wander about Concert Hall is Lucy, who quite possibly was a runaway or homeless woman who found refuge in the hall. She entertains the requests of ghost hunters, often communicating with them with flashing lights. Stanley historians, however, aren't quite sure about her pre-death connection to the hotel.
The vortex? The staircase area has also been dubbed the vortex, a natural spire of energy. It's also known as the rapid transit system for ghosts that are known to haunt the hotel. Interesting.
For room 217 is where Stephen King spent the night and got the inspiration of The Shining. The room has a library of King novels. King woke up that night to a terrifying dream about the story all the time, which we already talked about. Let's see. The room is thought to be haunted by Elizabeth Wilson, aka Miss Wilson. She was the hotel's head housekeeper, and during a storm in 1911 was injured during an explosion as she was lighting the lanterns in room 217. She survived, though broke her ankles, and her spirit seemed to be a regular in the room. Guests have reported items moved, luggage unpacked, and lights being turned on and off. Oh, and Miss Wilson is old-fashioned. She doesn't like it when unmarried guests share a bed together, so some couples have reported feeling a cold force come between them. One of the biggest myths about the room is that it's never available, but it's still available. We should stay there. I wonder how much she'd love to have a gay couple in there.
The last one? The hotel also offers guided day and night tours of its spirited history to guests and visitors, which feature spaces reputed to be exceptionally active.
Has anybody that watched my videos stayed there yet? I know I wanted to, but I didn't get the chance before I moved away from there.
We'll have to make a trip of it.
That's where we should have our honeymoon.
Maybe before we have a baby.
Like and subscribe, you guys. We're going to record another one before the lights go out.
Maybe. Maybe we'll just light some.
Anyways.
Let us know what you think.
Bye.
Bye.